Hello and welcome back to JBCTR, where today we're going to add yet more protection to my GR Yaris. Today we're fitting a set of rally flaps. Now, rally flaps have always been a little bit of a Marmite mod. They obviously add quite an obvious aesthetic to your car, and I had them on my Fiesta ST, and I must admit I really liked them. I liked the look mainly because it made it look a bit wider and a bit more angry, but also because living with them day to day you could always hear stones and debris being flicked up off your wheels and hitting these, whereas that debris would have actually hit your paint before fitting these. So I think these add a great deal of protection for a car, especially when the GR Yaris has got these wide fenders at the back. I think it's probably well worth doing. Now there's actually a lot that goes into making these, so let me get into the garage and I'll tell you what we've got. Now in terms of the actual material on the rally flaps, it's kind of quite interesting. So I've opted for the Kylan, which I think is the one to go for. There is a cheaper PVC option, but Kylan has been chosen for mud flaps because of its high resistance to abrasion, and also it pings back to shape and all that kind of stuff. If you're interested, this is made in a barrel, so the material is like basically just stuck to the edge of a barrel, and they build up the layers until they get the right thickness, and as such you can see that on your mud flaps with a slightly stripy side on one side where they've sort of built up the material and gone around the barrel, and on the other side a more shiny side where it was stuck to the edge of the barrel. So it's kind of interesting. And also, if you want a bit of motorsport heritage, Kylan was the material used for the side skirts on the ground effect F1 cars back in the day, if you're able to remember that. And if you don't know what ground effect is, go look it up because it's really cool. But anyway, let's start with the fronts and we'll get these on the car, shall we? Now, as you can see, I put it on full lock, and that is more than enough access to get to the mounting points to fit the front rally flaps. First up, we'll need to remove the bottom two clips with the trim removal tool. The top bolt can be removed with a 10mm socket. With the fixings removed, you can see there is a very slight indent in the arch liner, so rally flaps have kindly provided some adhesive washers to ensure the flap fits correctly against the existing arch lining. The bracket is attached with these tree fir fixings. Take care to ensure the shorter fixing is fitted to the bottom left of the bracket, as this fixing is only used to secure the flap to the bracket and not to the wheel arch. Once the bracket is attached, it's simple enough just to press the flap into the existing holes. The original 10mm bolt is then used to secure the flap in place. And that's your first rally flap fitted, apart from I made a very annoying mistake. The tree fir fixing holding the bracket to the rally flap should be secured with a metal washer, which I forgot to add. Now if you make the same mistake, it's good to know that you can slide it in, but it's a royal pain in the ass. Right then, one down, and I must admit that could not have been easier. This is a really cool kit. It's certainly nice and stable, it's not going anywhere, and actually I think it suits this car quite well. So yeah, on to the next. So there we have it, the fronts are now on, and that was it was really quite a simple job, to be honest. The rears, however, are a little more involved. As you can see, we don't really have much clearance here in order to get tools in and stuff and actually fix the flaps to the rear, which means these wheels unfortunately need to come off, and that involves jacking the car up. And not only that, there are no OEM fixing points for rally flaps at the rear, which means we're going to have to make our own. And to do that,
we're going to have to sort of balance it with the other side and make sure that they're hanging straight. So that also means that we need to lift the whole of the car up in sort of kind of like a level fashion so that we can ensure our flaps hang straight. And that gives us yet another issue. And that issue is that we need to use jack stands, one on either side, to keep the car level. Now, the GR, like most cars, have 4 jacking points underneath, and they're all on the sills, so you've got like a reinforced bit here, bit at the front, and obviously the same on the other side. But if you're lifting the car on that sill, then where do you put your jacking point? Thankfully, Toyota have come up with a solution. And this is that solution. It's a jacking point central to the rear axle, and it means we can pull up both sides, then put our jack stands under the sills on either side, and we should be good. And after that brief interruption, we can get back to where we were. So that's the car now up on jack stands, nice and safely, and I've left the jack at the back. The jack isn't actually taking any weight, it's just on that mounting point, just in case those jacks fail. It gives me a little bit, like an extra layer of security, if you like. So next step is to remove the wheels. What I should have mentioned was that you need to loosen the wheel nuts whilst the wheels are still in contact with the floor. The reason for that is because if they're done up super tight and you're trying to wrench them forwards, you may end up pushing the car off the jack stands, which isn't great. So loosen the nuts on the floor, and then once it's up like this, we can get the wheel off and get cracking.
I can't keep hiding in the darkness. My feelings need a little sun. I hope you don't think that I'm heartless. I just can't be the one you want right now. Hold back all the things I feel. If I hold back, maybe they're not real.
There we have it. They're wrong. Kind of, not really. So what I did is I put them into roughly the right position, and then I used a little bit of duct tape, as you can see here, just to sort of put them in the right place. I had to readjust them a few times and get them sitting how I like them and compared with the other side. I did use a ruler at some point to measure that they were sitting correctly on both sides, but I'm pretty sure where they're sitting now with the tape is about right. So now we can mark the holes, drill the holes that we need, and get cracking.
Now, as my mic gave up the ghost, let me talk you through how to fit the rears. The edges are held to the body with sticky foam tape, which is supplied in the kit. I used the alcohol wipe that also came with the kit to ensure that these pads were able to stick properly. The middle 3 fixings are screwed into the arch liner, and the 2 end fixings are there to join the flap to the bracket. Once the brackets had been put together, I could fix the centre screw, which I had marked earlier. With the centre screw fixed in place, I could perform my last adjustment to ensure they were hanging straight before adding the remaining 2 screws. A washer is added to the outside screw to help the flap hang straight. Lastly, the screw caps can be added, and the flap can be pushed against the foam tape to ensure it follows the body lines of the car. Then of course, it's just a case of doing the same thing on the other side, and trying to avoid the rain. Now, all in all, I think Rallyflapz have done a great job on this kit, and it's certainly well thought out. Fitting is something I reckon most competent DIYers can do at home, because I'd like to think I am one. Although, I will admit the drilling can be a little daunting. So if you've got any concerns, then it may be worth getting a professional to fit the rears.
And with that, I think we'll leave it there. So if you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me, the GR Yaris and other car content, feel free to subscribe. And in the next video, I might even do a driving video, who knows? That would be novel, wouldn't it? But anyway, if you enjoyed it, subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.
Aside from my soul.